Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, August 13th of 2023. Now I have a really fun message for you today, and this has to do with the Lion's Gate portal, which we are just technically moving out of this morning on the 13th of August. Now this is astrology thing, so if you're not into astrology, you think this is all kind of wacky stuff, stick around because I think this is a really fun message that applies to anyone who's into bettering themselves and taking advantage of the planets and the energies and the frequencies, which at the end of the day, we all know to the deep part of ourselves that we are pure energy. And there are a lot of energy swirling around the world right now. So I actually did a little bit of research on exactly what the Lion's Gate portal means. So this is what I found online. The Lion's Gate portal is a cosmic event that occurs every year between July 28th and August 12th, which if you're watching this on Sunday when I'm dropping it, today is the 13th of August, so there are still those energies pretty powerful, but we're just barely through the end of that. And it peaks on August 8th, so 8/8. It takes place when the sun is in Leo, the Earth, Orion's belt, and the star Sirius are lined up. So there's a lineup of planets and the sun. So and this happens every single year around this time. Since the event happens when the sun is in Leo season, the sign known for strength and determination, thus the name Lion's Gate portal. Okay, so I think that this is really a cool thing to think about because, like I said, even if astrology is something that you think is kind of wacky, or if you believe in it and understand it and realize that there has been some cool guidance. I actually last year had what's called my natal chart read by an astrologist. It was really fun, and it seems really spot on when they, because they take your birth date, your birth year, and they look at the planets and where they were lined up, not just on that date and the year, but what time of day were you born. And it's really fascinating. And while it might be kind of fun, and people might say, oh, it's like having a palm reader read your palm, where it's kind of fun to do that, there are a lot of people who've been able to tune into this part of themselves based on their astrology and let it guide them. And it's actually kind of cool. And I know people who are pretty into this, and they're really leading some very epic lives. So here's some other things that I found about it. It is one of the most awaited cosmic events where the abundance of positive energy helps people set their goals and manifest aspirations. And it is believed that all will be realized. Okay, so what is its significance? So you may ask why focusing on the Lion's Gate portal manifestations is so important. It's because it is the opening of a galactic gate and symbolizes an outburst of high frequency energy and wisdom that brings us a great opportunity for growth and manifestation. I love that. In fact, there's a piece of history that says, as per ancient Egypt cosmology, the Lion's Gate is the dawn of a new year and a period where they set new resolutions for the future. Interestingly, ancient Egyptians revered the star Sirius, which is the brightest star, and all their ceremonies and lifestyle revolved around Sirius, as they believed it was the gateway to heaven and wisdom. Hence, they started exploiting the Lion's Gate opening, as in those times Sirius was strong and brightest in the sky. They believed this portal occurs when Sun is in Leo, Earth and Sirius move into the complete alignment with the pyramids of Giza. So there's some cool history about Lion's Gate, and it actually it's very, very ancient, goes beyond Egypt. Astrology is actually a really beautiful study, and it's fun. It's a really fun study because I think it's a little egotistical to think that we are the only species here in the universe, in the galactic universe, and that's a whole nother story that is kind of fun to talk about. But what I wanted to share with you is I found some really cool things about ways that we can work with the energies of the Lionsgate portal. So even though we're just barely beyond that, there are still some strong energies that I think all of us can take advantage of, regardless of when it is. And these are things that I found I consistently talk about over the years and consistently in different videos. And I think it's nice to dial this in. And here's something else that I really believe. I believe that if we've been doing the work and we are in a place of understanding what's happening in the world, the rest of this year there's some pivotal things that we can do to make us go into 2024 with all of the brilliance and energies and upgrades that humanity is going to be getting in 2024. I think it's going to be a very, very important time for humanity as a whole, especially for people who are aware of what's happening. So here are some of the ways that you can work with the energy of the Lionsgate portal to manifest your own desires. Okay, so here's the first one: set clear intentions. The first step in manifestation is setting clear intentions. Take the time to reflect on what you truly want to manifest in your life. Write down your intentions in a positive and present tense manner, as if they had already happened. This is, law of attraction. Write it down. Act as if. There's a really great book that was written by Jack Canfield, and I think it was called, I want to say, The Laws of Success or something like that. It was a big, thick book. And one of the rules, maybe it was the rules of success, but one of them was act as if. You act as if you already are. Say, for example, you want to lose 50 pounds. Well, what you do is you walk through your life acting as if you are already a person who is 50 pounds lighter, which would make you 50 pounds less and then healthier. What you eat, how do you move, how do you sleep, how do you handle stress? You get stressed and you're a fit person that's 50 pounds lighter, you're not going to grab the bag of chips or the sweets or whatever it is that you would grab if you are acting as if you already have accomplished and manifested anything that you desire, whether it be in your health, your relationships, your job, whatever it is that you're doing, is to set a clear intention and act as if. That is one of my favorite things. And I've been doing that actually ever since I watched The Secret all those years ago. I don't know how many years ago was that, 20, maybe more, when that came out. Okay, so the second one is meditation. Meditation, and here this talks about during the Lionsgate portal to connect with the higher energies. Find a quiet and comfortable space, close your eyes, and focus on your intentions. Visualize yourself already living the life you desire. You can do this anytime. And I believe that meditation, even if you can't quiet your mind, but just getting someplace quiet where you don't have any distractions is a really powerful way to tune in with your higher self and the things that you want the most. Visualizations, and they also have here affirmations. And this one I actually put a cross through. I wasn't going to really talk about that too much because it's more than just saying affirmations, because there has to be action behind it. Journaling, this is a really important part of my life and has been for a long time. And I talk about this consistently because it's something that has made a really profound, powerful difference in my life, even if for the fact of just getting all the thoughts out of my head. For the most part, I don't go back and read what I've written. A lot of times I'll just sit and journal as a brain dump just to get things out. And then sometimes I'll sit and journal intentionally the things that are going through my mind, things that I need to work through. And writing things down and getting them out is so much more powerful than you could ever imagine. Of course, in here is gratitude practice. Expressing gratitude for what you already have can raise your vibration and align you with the energy of manifestation. Write down or speak aloud things you're grateful for and visualize your desires being fulfilled as if they've already happened. That one to me is really a simple thing, and it's something that's brought up consistently, and I know many of you already practice the act of gratitude. Sometimes I can go overboard and I would rather go overboard than not show enough gratitude or feel it. My husband is the one who does all the cooking in our house. I'm so grateful for that. And while I'm working during the day, there's usually a beautiful meal that's prepared for us and for me at the end of the day. In the evening, we enjoy it together. And it was about a month ago. He tries new recipes, and I kind of am overwhelmed with gratitude because I love good food and I love home cooked meals, and I get that all the time. In fact, we've reached a point where it's actually a little bit difficult to go out and eat because the experience, while sometimes it might be good and really, really, really good food, but it's expensive, and then you've got to travel, and you get really used to eating at home, and which I think is good anyway. But about a month ago, he made this meal that was a new recipe, and it was so good. And I had a nice glass of wine with it, and I was just feeling super relaxed, super, super grateful, and I just kept being effusive about how good it was almost every bite that I took. And it wasn't that I was being insincere. It was actually quite the opposite. I was so sincere. It was so good. And he started getting a little bit annoyed, like, okay, stop. Don't you have anything else to talk about besides how good my food is? You only need to tell me once. And then after a minute, we had that moment. We both started laughing because it was like, okay, we're so lucky. We're being overwhelmed by the gratefulness of the good food. And it was just a kind of a funny moment, but also a nice reminder of it's better to be over grateful than grateful and not expressing it, or just not grateful at all. That to me, that's a really important piece of raising our vibration, is just living in a space of gratitude. And to be reminded of that on a regular basis is really, really awesome. Another thing to do is energy clearing. I'll be in the space of someone who has lower energy, and there might be a time when I need to literally physically clear it. I might have to just either move away from them, and then if I can feel the denseness of the energy that I've just absorbed, and you might not be aware of that unless you are aware that that is a thing. But if you feel kind of a heavy energy after a certain situation or a place you've been or something you've watched, and you maybe don't know why you quite feel that way, take a minute and literally either remove yourself from the situation. I like to move the energy just by doing this, and I'll just literally move it away from me. Sometimes if we've had a social situation where maybe there was a negative conversation that happened or a negative event that happened, which not very often, but if we've had maybe something negative happen in our house, I will literally light my sage and I'll smudge it around the house, and I will clear the energy that way. And if you think that sounds silly, it's powerful. Try it before you diss it. It is a very, very cool thing. And I think that when we learn to work with energy and move energy, our life can shift in huge ways, and we can start to manifest things that are our deepest desires for how we want our lives. So I really love that. Now, the last thing on this little section is we need to be willing and able to act on our intentions. We can't just say we want things. We can't just say we want our health to be better. We want our relationship to be better. We want our finances and our abundance to be better. All of the things that we desire and want in our lives. We can't just say we want the world to be better. We have to act upon our intentions. If we intend for the world to be better, we need to start by making our home better, our relationship better. Because when you do that on a small scale, on just the things that you can affect, it affects the whole planet. It affects everybody, not just in your area, but there's a thing called quantum entanglement, where the things that we do, the energies we put out, they reach far, far away. There's a ripple effect. You could even say something out into the universe, out into the day, and it will reach the far ends of the universe. And if we knew the power of the words that we speak and the intentions and energy we put out, I believe we would all act very differently, because well, the world would look differently, first of all. So the more of us who realize that, it doesn't have to seem overwhelming, that we don't know how to make the world better because it seems so crazy and chaotic, right? We just need to know that what we do matters, and it matters in a big way. So be willing to act upon your intentions. I thought that was like, I mean, how can you disagree with that, right? Now, there's one other thing that I found that I'm going to end this with. As far as the Lionsgate portal, there is a girl that I've been following for a while. Her name is Elizabeth April, and she's super fun to follow. I've been following her for quite a few years, and I love her message. Her message is just what she calls star seeds, people who know why they're here. They understand they're here to make a change and make a difference in this world. And she did a little video on the Lionsgate portal. And what she shared was that she felt like there were 4 phases that's been happening since the beginning of 2020. And we're getting ready to end a 4-year cycle at the end of this year, so at the end of 2023. And so I just want to share with you these 4 phases that she covered, and it was kind of really cool. In fact, I'm going to put a link to that video below this video, because if you're interested in it, it's a fun video. It's about 30 minutes, and it's got a great message. So even if you don't like to think about the woo-woo stuff or believe in any of that stuff, the message that's between all of this is really, really beautiful. And I'm going to condense this in my own words. So she talks about how the Lionsgate portal happens every year, and that basically it's an energy vortex that helps amplify the energies. And I kind of explained that in the beginning. If you've done the work, this portal allows you to really get wherever it is that you want to go, whatever you're doing. So the pivotal question that we need to ask ourselves is, what do I want to be? And what no longer serves us? You know, what doesn't serve me anymore? What are the things that I need to let go? So the first phase is basically that people started going through, the way she describes it, in 2020, there was a huge majority of people that started going through what's called shadow work. This is like the death of the ego. This is looking at relationships that no longer serve you, looking at behaviors. And the symptoms of shadow work are anxiety, depression, random health issues that come and go, family issues, lots of exhaustion. If you think about what happened in 2020, when a lot of people woke up to a lot of really hard truths, dark things that they realized were happening in the world, that is shadow work. When you know, I remember, even though I like to have thought of myself as awake and aware and on this personal development journey for years and even a couple of decades, you know, 2020 hit, and I was not prepared for how a lot of people responded. And I think the majority of the people on the planet complied, and I was not prepared for that. I was very aware of what was going on, but I remember vividly, after everything shut down in March, I remember thinking, okay, all it's going to take is summer to get here, when people are going to realize, because summertime, it's not cold and flu season, people are going to see this really is not what we think it is, and people are going to go, oh, you know, people that aren't just dropping dead on the sidewalk. I honestly believed that the majority of the planet would just go, oh, this is not what they said it is. And of course, that's not what happened. And as I went through 2020, I remember in the middle of the summer that year, sitting in my backyard, and the trees looked purple to me, because I just was like, the world has gone mad. And there was a lot of heavy energies. I was full of anxiety, not because of the virus, but because of the way the world was responding, and the things that I felt and I could see were happening that felt so incongruent with everything that I knew. And a ton of friendships were lost. I lost a very close couple that me and my husband traveled the world with for 20 years. They didn't like how I responded, and they're still at this point. Even though there's been a try of a connection, it never really took, and that's also okay. Especially at this point, there's such bigger and more beautiful things out there, and everything has its season. I still wish them well. I still love them. But some of the symptoms of the shadow work, when you have these deep realizations, like I said, are anxiety, depression, random health issues, family issues, lots of exhaustion. This is a part of an ego death as well, where we do have to keep a part of our ego to function in this world, in what we call the matrix, and function in the part of the world that needs to get up and go to work and pay our bills and function in society. There is a piece of that we need. But when we break down all those things and we get through the other end of it, then comes the second phase that she talks about. And this is integration and upgrades. So now that we have the space cleared energetically, there can be some other things that might be in this phase as we're trying to integrate the upgrades that we have, right? There might be more anxiety because we're now upgrading and it's a new place. We might have more sleepless nights and vivid dreams, and maybe you've watched something like a documentary that cracked open new perspectives and new truths for you. I can say with a certainty there have been a ton of rabbit holes that I've gone down the last 3.5 years, and I'm grateful for every one of them. But those are giving you upgrades. Those are giving you new perspectives. They're giving you maybe some sleepless nights and vivid dreams. And I can say with a fact that all of those things happened for me, 100%. Losing people in your life, you're becoming a new person. You're figuring things out with these higher vibrations because now you're in tune. It's like once you see something, you can't unsee something. Once you have an upgrade, once you have a breakthrough about something, it's like, the thing in the Matrix where you take the red pill. You really can't take the blue pill again, even though that was an option in the movie. Once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know better, you must do better. That is just a beautiful mantra to live by. So you'll naturally drift apart from old relationships. There might be a blow up, or it might just be naturally drifting. There's an interesting thing that she talks about where you might have on and off health issues. They'll come up and then they'll clear out. They'll come up again and then they'll clear out. And I've kind of, I went through a weird phase starting in 2020 when, no one could really go out to restaurants and everything. And so I was missing traveling in 2020 because my husband and I used to travel to Europe on a regular basis, and we did a lot of traveling. And one of my favorite things was like sitting in a little restaurant in Spain with a bowl of chips and a glass of wine and waiting for our main course to come. And so I started eating before dinner every single night a bowl of chips. It started with, I just want to do this tonight. That sounds really good, and I can pretend like I'm traveling. And it turned into more than a year. Almost every single night I would eat a bowl of chips. And now, luckily, I'm smart enough with my health and aware enough that I'm not going to sit and eat a whole bag of chips. But I did eat a bowl of chips almost every night for a really long time. And, it was delicious and amazing, and I loved every single bite. But I have since moved on from that. But I did have a little bit of, digestion issues, and I had a little bit of constipation here and there. So these little health issues would come and go. At one point, I had a little infection in my eye that just came up, and it was like, so this was such a beautiful explanation for me of some of these phases of the energies during this really pivotal time, this 4-year span, and what these phases are. In fact, what she said is, this is just the energies as they're moving through your system. Definitely there were chips moving through my system, that was for sure. And I brought that to a couple of sisters' weekends, and when a couple of my family members would visit, I would have my bowl of chips, and then I would bring out a bigger bowl to share. And when friends would come over for dinner, I would get out the chips, and it was kind of an interesting phase. And I'm happy that I'm past it, but it's so interesting for me. Okay, now the third phase of the 4 that she talks about is what I found really fascinating. This, what she called, is a holding pattern. So it means you've done the shadow work, you've done the work, you've gotten upgrades, but there's just a lack of motivation. Okay, and if you can relate with that at all, I feel you, because I have had moments of that, a restlessness, a frustration, and lots of distractions. One of my sisters, she's so awesome. She actually just retired last year, and we both really grabbed a hold of this video and watched it 2 or 3 times and talked on the phone about it. And she has been kind of not just with the retirement, but like she's like a rock star and always busy, and she gets massive amounts of things done. Even since she's been retired, she's the one who did all the illustrations for my Be Your Own Shaman book. She did all of the illustrations that were in the book, and she did them all within a very short period of time last summer, as I was wrapping up the design work and getting all the content ready to go to the designer before it got published. And so she gets a lot of stuff done, but she found herself, and I found myself in this too, maybe not to that level because I've still got a lot of things to keep me busy, but I have had moments of like severe distractions where I'll watch a series on Netflix, and I'm actually kind of past that now. I'm really grateful for that. But I would find myself scrolling Instagram for an hour. I would look at reels on Instagram, because you know how they're so, and they look at what you stop on and watch, and then they feed you ones that they know interest you. So if you've ever been caught, on Instagram scrolling through the reels, and then before you know it, half an hour's gone, an hour's gone, and you feel a little glazed, and right? Yes, I have been caught doing that. Right? Tell me in the comments. Is that something you have been caught doing? And it might be distractions with other things. This lovely sister of mine, she started watching on Netflix Korean TV, these Korean series. And I actually watched one with her last year, and it was really fun. And I got through the whole, I think there were 8 or 10 episodes, and she has since watched many. And she even kind of makes a joke about it, like, I've been watching so much of these Korean series, and I love them, and I love the language, but I can't stop watching. So that is a serious distraction. So this is what she called being in a holding pattern. So lack of motivation, lots of distraction, restlessness, frustration. You want to do more, but you don't know where you're going. You don't quite know what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So what you come to realize, it's okay to chill. Sometimes you can just sit back and watch a whole series. Give yourself permission as these energies are changing to just chill. Don't worry, you're exactly where you need to be. Okay? And then the final phase, which is actually, and everyone is going through these things at different times. What I love about how she explained is that there are some people who are maybe just now starting in the shadow work. Maybe they didn't get all of that in 2020, in 2021, or whenever that started happening. But there has been a massive shift. There has been a huge shift of people who are like, wait a minute, things aren't the way I thought they were. They're not the way I was told they were. And there's a whole breakdown of things that felt familiar and systems that we trusted that you have to come to grips with. And that is tough work. So the goal is to be now where we are now, where phase 4 is action, where it's time to take action. And what I loved about what I said earlier is take action with intention. Okay? So some of the symptoms of this next phase, and this is all from Elizabeth April. This is not her exact words, but these are her concepts. Everything is new. It might be a new job, new home, new relationships. It might be or maybe if you're out the other end of that, or maybe you're solid, maybe you've got the solid, but you've gone through the shadow work, you've gone through the holding pattern, you've gone through an upgrade, an integration of energies, and now you go, okay, now I know what my purpose is, and it's time for me to take action. It might just be a new you, and you're in a new environment, and the goal is to now anchor yourself in this new environment. The thing is, in this action place, you are creating new opportunities, and you can easily and effortlessly get more traction for it. So let me just kind of finish this, and this is really interesting, and I'll share this. So you can easily and effortlessly have more traction. When you want something and you know what you want, a new restored energy and excitement for life again. You might get more annoyed at your distractive behaviors. So in this action phase, if you find yourself being distracted by scrolling through social media and getting lost in it, you're going to become much more annoyed that you still do that. So you have to be really intentional about not letting yourself do that. The more awareness you have, you'll have lots and lots of movement, easy, effortless flow, and naturally a higher vibration. So here's the things that we need to do that we need to prepare for going into 2024. We need to know what we want to do, and we need to know and do. So we need to know things, but we need to know what it is we want to do. We want to know who do we want to be and what we want to attract in our life by the end of 2023. There's a brand new 4-year cycle. Lots of changes are going to happen, not just individually, but globally. Lots of changes are coming in 2024. This is something that once I realized that not everyone was awakening in 2020, I realized that it was going to take a while, because these things always do. It's like turning a great big ship. It's not, you can't, or driving a great big truck. You have to drive it differently than you can around a corner than you would just drive a small car around a corner. The earth is big. There are billions of people on it, and it's not a quick thing. I believe that in this next year, for those people who have seen it and have been doing the work, there are going to be massive opportunities in real estate, in relationships, in business opportunities, in personal growth, in something you can contribute to humanity. In fact, what I was just going to say, so she says at the end of this, those of us who see and feel and know need to lead the change. That's really where it is, right? If we see it, we feel it, and we know it. We might just need to lead it individually. We don't have to go do something big. Personally, I would love to make my book. I would like to, make my book a bestseller. Would love to sell 1 million copies and empower people about plant medicine and learn how to grow their own herbs and how to make them into different things that would benefit them and their family. I would love that. So I'm going to end with this. So earlier this year, actually it came out in May, just a couple months ago, my nephew Ben, he wrote a book, and I shared a little interview with him. It's called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And he's been out promoting it, and he's been doing lots of interviews, and it is a really impactful, beautiful book. If you are interested in that at all, you can get it everywhere. You can even get it on Audible, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on his website, you can get it everywhere. So it just came out in paperback. It was originally released in hardbound, but it just came out in paperback. 10X is Easier Than 2X. Now, he was just here this summer. He just left a week ago. He was here for 3 weeks with his wife and his 6 kids. So I got to spend a lot of time with him. And what he's really on right now, which I love, is what are your impossible goals to achieve before the end of 2023? And it really got me thinking, what is impossible? What feels impossible? And it's like possible is the enemy of all of your hopes and dreams, because if you know something's possible, it's not going to challenge you to do something that you might feel is impossible. What feels impossible for you between right now and the end of 2023? It might be getting a new job. It might be getting completely out of credit card debt. What seems impossible, absolutely impossible for you? I can think of a ton of things, and I might share them later because this doesn't feel like the right video to share. But the other day, probably 2 days ago, I sent Ben a text and I just said, okay, here are my impossible goals for me to have accomplished by the end of 2023. And he was like, whoa, okay, that's good. Because he had sent me his on a text, and it was like, okay, I love the way you dream so big. And it's not just about dreaming big, but it's about realizing that we can take advantage of all the work we've done, the things that we see, and the energies of where humanity is going. So even though there is a potential for things to go kind of dark and kind of not where we want to go, there is a potential for that. I don't believe that's going to happen for a heartbeat. I don't believe that any of my being doesn't believe any of that. But the thing is, there are opportunities for those of us who are in the right position with the things that we see and the way we've been preparing, the shadow work we've been doing, the simple preparation we've been making, to have more of an impact, not just in our own lives with our own families, because it does not have to be on a great big scale. But we have an opportunity to create change and bring about better systems for all of humanity. It might just be our own communities, which is exactly what we need. We need every person to realize that I get to impact my own community. All right, I'm going on. It's been 36 minutes. So if any of this resonates with you, let me know where you are in those 4 phases. Where are you? Are you in the depth of shadow work right now? And this just might be coming to the realization that things have not always been how you thought they were. Maybe you're just now opening your mind. You've just been open to truths that are startling and very difficult. Maybe you're separating from friends or close relationships that you never thought you would, because you just realize they no longer serve you. Are you in that phase? Are you in the action phase? That to me, I am fully in the action phase. I am past those bowls of chips. And I am excited for the rest of this year and for all the things that are coming in 2024. I am beyond excited, and I hope you are too. So subscribe if you're not. Jump onto our newsletter. Just sign up for our emails. That way, this is where I share the link to the videos when I drop them, and also just different things that we have going on here. I've got some very big plans for the rest of this year that I'm excited to share with you guys. And I'd love to hear what yours are. What's your impossible goal? There's a lot of things that we could talk about in this. So maybe, that's the thing that might resonate with you as I'm asking you to drop me some feedback is, what is an impossible goal? Maybe put it out into the world and drop a comment about it. What feels impossible? You don't have to give details. You can stay incognito if you want. You could even drop me an email and just let me know what is your impossible goal, because it actually helps to verbalize that stuff. So I hope you guys have a beautiful Sunday. It's a little bit later than usual when I'm dropping this because I am heading off a little bit later to hike with Brian, but we are going to get to the top of Grandeur Peak today. That is our goal. So I will check back in next Sunday and let you know how that went, but I hope you have a beautiful day. I'd love to hear your comments on this topic. I think it's brilliant. So have a beautiful day, guys. Subscribe if you're not. Hit the thumbs up. Share if you feel so inclined, and we will see you next time.